Back in action, part 3. We're going to finish up this mix and master right now. And this is a drum and bass track I've been working on. I've been live streaming the whole thing with you guys. So it takes a little longer to do it this way, but you know, enough of you, a few of you really appreciate it. So I got to keep doing it. I'm going to make sure the ones that really appreciate it get to learn, right? And it's January 4th. A lot of you guys are, you're slacking on your shit. So I want to make sure you got the right information. But before we get to streaming the mix, I have to light this amazing candle. So good. Just such a good candle. Whew. It's from The Imperfectionist. This is not like a sponsor or anything, by the way, guys. I'm not like, get your candles here. It's just so good. Lavender vanilla. So I just like this candle. Just light a candle and then get to mixing. All right. So I hope you guys are doing well. Say what's up if you're new here. Let me know you're new here. You know what I'm saying? And ask questions in the comments as we go through stuff. You know, I'm here to help you guys out. Here to teach you guys what I know. A little bit of what I know. I can't teach you everything because I've been doing this for 28 years, right? But I can tell you as much as I can. What's up, Scott? How you doing, man? So we're in Logic. We're doing this drum and bass track, and now we're to the point where I think most of you guys want to learn more, right? A lot of you like to rush to the finish line with a mix and master. You're like, just start throwing EQ and reverbs and blah, blah, blah on it. But typically that's not what gives you a great mix and master. It's not what gives you a great record. Getting to a great record is great arrangement, great progressions, chord progressions, great melodies, great structure and recording, performances. Oh man, I could tell you right now, one, if not the most important thing that I hear that's lacking right now in music and in a lot of records that I've been getting from clients, performances. Performances sound like stuffy, or they sound too edited, or they sound contrived, right? Do you know what contrived means? It means basically coming from something that's already out there, like a Prince record and it sounds just like Prince, or this record and it sounds just like that, or that you're trying to be like that. There's not a whole lot of authenticity right now in music. And when people hear something authentic sounding, it's because of the actual performance, because the delivery on the artist is like represented, right? It's like, wow, this artist really liked what they were doing. They're super into it and they feel it and they feel the passion, and people can feel that coming through the record, right? And my job as a mixing engineer when I'm just mixing is to make sure that those feelings, whatever they are, like try to find those feelings in the song, in the record, in the instrumental, and pull those things to attention so that people get their focus more on what's emotional about the record, what's authentic about the record. And that's not an easy task. You can know all about EQ, all the technicals about compression, reverb, stereo width, getting your records loud. You can learn all that stuff, but you really can't teach taste, and you can't teach authenticity, and you can't teach this stuff, you know? This is stuff that you have to really feel, and you have to practice a lot. Like, it's a lot of practice. Let's be real. So as you guys are watching the stream and stuff, ask any questions you got. But also just, try to think about, what I'm trying to do with the record as I'm mixing it, because it's not just me going like, yeah, and then I use this EQ, and then you're going to go pick up the plugin and all of a sudden you're going to be able to mix the same way. Like, that's just not the reality. A lot of plugin companies would like you to think that, like, if you just buy their plugin, you can mix like the top engineers. It's just marketing. So pay attention to the techniques. And these are techniques that I've learned from practicing, okay? From like using my ear. Like, I tune all my own rooms, right? I've tuned dozens of studio rooms. I have a degree in sound, right? Like, I'm a deep practitioner. And I'm not trying to brag. This is not like, I'm better than you. This is me saying, I put in the fucking hours. I put in you want to talk about 10,000 hours? Come on. You know, I've been making music since I was like 12 years old. I'm 40 years old now. Do the math, right? I've been producing, recording, mixing, editing, arranging, using all sorts of DAWs, hardware units, samplers, etc. for most of my life, like a majority of my life. So just pay attention to the fact that, like, if I do something, try to learn the technique, you know, like, why am I doing that? And I'm going to try to explain that over the live, but you know, this is more about the skill, and it's about learning the skill sets, because the skill sets are what are going to get you to a place where you can figure things out. Here's a good example. I had a friend of mine. He hit me up last night and he was like, hey, I got this trailer from the Flash movie. He's like, my buddy wants me to write a song that's like it. Do you know how, like, cause I'm trying to figure out the tempo of the track on this trailer, but I can't figure it out. And I'm like, all right, so you got to take the trailer, you have to bring it into Logic. You need to tempo map out all the music that's on the trailer. And I would start with the time signatures and any changes you have in the time signatures, and then tempo map it. And it's like, that's a skill set. Like, I did that for decades before I learned that skill set. You know, when I worked with Mark Mothersbaugh, big composer, I would set up his sessions all the time because we were working on 22 Jump Street, Hotel Transylvania, you know, Wes Anderson movies and commercials and all sorts of shit. And that's a skill set I learned, is like, hey, you got to map the tempo of what they have in the score. And so we can replace that music because they cut the picture to a tempo and to a time signature and to the music that's already there. And sometimes that means bars of 3, bars of 5/8, you know, bars of like 1. There's like random time signatures and things that happen within the music when you're working to picture. So all these things are skill sets and you have to practice them. Okay, so let's listen to what we got here. I've just been kind of, I haven't even touched this actually since we last did a stream, but I did do one thing. I took all these drum kick samples and I layered the loop in with all the kick samples. Okay, so now that those are in, the kick is like, the drums are punchy again, right? So I'm gonna bypass these kicks. I'm just gonna mute them and I'm gonna let you hear it, and then I'm gonna put the kicks back in so you can hear like how much better the punches and stuff, right? And what we're doing, and then I'll explain that. All right, that's without the kicks. And then I went in and I literally just layered them because this is like a 2-bar loop, right? So very simple to just layer the kicks in and then repeat them. So here's with the kicks. Okay, so now that is a big part of the sound of what this is. We need punch. We need drive, right? You don't get drive and punch with a drum loop that doesn't have any punch to it or any drive. Regardless of like what, you know, sort of tip you got on TikTok about how you're going to EQ the kick and you're going to add a compressor and then you're going to parallel it and you're going to do all this stuff. Sometimes that shit doesn't do anything. You just need to pick better sounds. You need to layer your kick drums and layer your snare drums and get your drums to sound good at source. Don't rely on your mixing engineer, right? But of course, when someone pays me, you know, I'm not cheap, okay? I'm not like, oh yeah, I'll do it for $150, bro. This is stuff that it's a very, very, it's a huge passion of mine, but it's something that I spend a lot of time on, right? So I'm not a cheap option to get your record mixed and mastered. So when I do it right. I'm going to take the goddamn time to make sure that the shit hits. You know what I'm saying? So you got a trap record and it's like, dude, why isn't this hitting? You know what I'm saying? Like, because your shit sucks. Like, your drums suck. I'm going to go in and I'm going to layer up your drums and I'm going to get your shit going. And I'm going to not just EQ, compress, throw a limiter on it and be like, I mixed it, give me $150. That's why those guys charge $150, because they don't really mix. They throw you through a mastering chain, they balance it into the mastering chain, and then they bounce it, and then they say they mixed your record. I don't do that. I actually think that that's just wrong. Like, I don't believe in that. I think that you got to have really low morals to be doing shit like that, where you're just ripping people off. You know, it's like people when they tell you like, hey, I'll repost your content, you know, these social media accounts and shit. Just give me like $150 or 15 or $20, right? And I'll post to my accounts. Most of those accounts are botted. Nobody's really paying attention. They don't get any, you know, nobody fucks with them, right? Same thing with Spotify playlists. There's a bunch of scams out there. So if it seems too good to be true, is what I'm saying, is like someone's like, yo, I'll mix and master your record for $150, $200, man, I got you. You know, it's probably too good to be true. Now, there are outliers. There are people on Fiverr and stuff that literally mix one style or one genre and they do it really well. Like you give them an R&B record and they're just going to knock it out of the park for $150. They're going to kill it because that's all they do is R&B. But then give them a drum and bass record. They don't know the first fucking thing about drum and bass. Give them a metal record and they're like, oh, what? But they'll take your money and they'll try. You'll be an experiment to them, right? Because they've never even fucking mixed a metal record. You're the first one. And then they might use your $150 to go buy a plugin. Hey, I'm saying this because I did it back in the days. Right? So... yeah, just don't believe all the bullshit, you know? Oh, just throw it through AI. AI's gonna make it sound good. Yeah, and you can't figure out why you don't get any streams and you can't get any fans with your music. Because your music sounds like shit. All right? So, I'm just talking shit, but you guys love when I talk shit, so... and I get to be myself on these streams, which I fucking love. Yo, Scott in the house. See, Scott knows I mixed one of his records. He's like, hell yeah, baby. Yeah, dude, I had to work my ass off to get that low end to work. Those toms you had in there were insane. Just crazy. Thank you, Scott, for the super chat. It means a lot, man, honestly. And I'm trying to stream as much as I can in 2024 because I do love teaching, you know, and I do want music to become better. I want sonically things to improve. I want people to get better. I want music to be better all the way. I want to lift up that you know, the lowest common denominator. I want it to be higher, you know. I want everyone to know this stuff. There's no reason why anyone shouldn't have access to this this information, right? So it's about what you do with the information. But I appreciate the super chat, man. That's super nice. Super chat, super nice. All right, so what we got here is we got a sub bass, we got a bass high, we got the kicks, we got the drums. You notice I spent a lot of time on the drums, right? It's very, very important in this style of track because that's all it really is drums. And this synth. So this synth has to sound interesting, right? So one way I'm going to make this sound more interesting is I'm going to do some like front to back panning automation kind of stuff, okay? And I'm going to use what I keep using, right? I could even use the magic switch. Let's just fucking do the magic switch on this and we'll automate this this mix here. Okay, so let's check this out. Also, I don't understand why this is left-right. It must have got on a mono magic switch. Let's check. You don't want that. You don't want to be using like a multi-mono on a stereo source. Yeah, don't do that. So we'll do stereo here. Let's turn this on and let's take the mix down. Let's hit A. And then we got automation lanes. And what we can do here is the magic switch. We will do the mix. And we'll just automate the mix to just kind of give us some vibe, okay? And this is just going to give the mix more life, right? So let's do it every 16 bars because this is a fast record. It's 170 BPM, so that's really like 8 bars at, I don't know, you do the math. Still pretty fast, right? But here we go. So click, and now we can see this highlighted. We're going to take this and click it up and drag it to... not 100%. I think that'll be kind of crazy. I want to go like maybe 50%, somewhere around there, right? And obviously I always listen before I go like, yeah, that's it. That's going to work great, you know? But now we can drag this loop, bam, bring it over. And same thing, we're just going to go here and click and then snap it to 33 and go down. And this doesn't need to be on off. It could also just be like, hey, let's go to like, let's make this kind of like 25 to 50, right? 25 to 50. Now, see, this is stuff like that I would do in the production, but because, you know, Ed 808 is paying me good money to do this, and then also to teach him this shit, right? So I'm going to do my best here. All right, I'm going to go here. I'm going to drag that out, and then if you take that, you can hit. So, okay, what I'm doing here, it's hard to explain stuff as I'm going because I want to go really fast. But the marquee tool, right? So you highlight something like, for example, this automation, Command C, and then you can take that marquee tool and highlight the next selection and Command V it. And now you've just copy and pasted that. And you could just keep doing that, right? Whatever. Just go throughout the whole thing. I'm going to do that because I know that that's just what I want to do. Whatever. It's not hard to undo that, right? Undo, undo, undo. Cool. We have computers. Computers are awesome. All right, so now let's hear this just soloed so you can hear what it's doing as we automate that. So it's so subtle, but that's fine, right? We just leave that. That's one element of automation on this that's going to make it more interesting. I like to do multiple elements of automation because this sound gets so annoying. And I don't mean any shade to anybody like producing this style of music, but this shit's annoying. It's like like it just doesn't change, and it's annoying to me, and I think it'll be annoying to a lot of listeners just because of how obnoxious it gets. Let's be real, right? And I'm just being straight up. And Ed, you know, he knows who I am. I talk how I talk. I'm Bradley. I'm going to be myself, you know. So I think most people that work with me, they appreciate that, right? Like I don't lie to them. I'm not like, that's awesome, man. You're so sick. Bro, I love that sound. I could listen to that all day long, bro. It's just not the case. I'm just going to tell you how I feel about something. So let's go to TrueVerb and let's do the same thing here. And then you could get really crazy with this shit. Like you could do fun shit with this, right? But I'm just doing subtle stuff because I don't want to lose that sound because that sound is very drum and bass. Okay. So let's go to the TrueVerb and we're going to just move this from front to back. Okay. And this actually, I watched Jason Joshua streaming and he did this. That's where I got this idea. I was already using early reflections. I actually started using the TrueVerb a lot more since I saw Jason Joshua doing it because he's a fucking legend and I love his mixes. I just love them. So, you know, don't think that I don't learn from people every day as well, right? I'm not saying like, oh, I know everything. I never try to learn anything. You know what I mean? Like that would be stupid, you know, and I guarantee you Jason is out there learning every day too. You know, he's got people teaching him all sorts of shit. And, you know, every time you produce something for someone, you learn something new because producers do crazy shit as well. And I'm a producer, so I do fun shit like that too. So I like actually to automate the early reflections up and down, but for the most part, what I'm going to do is like leave this around like there or so. Now, if you turn the early reflections up, you're hearing the early reflections more. So you're going to hear the actual reflections off of the surface, whatever that it's you know, creating. And then this distance, what we want to do is automate this. We want it to automate from there to there, right? So going front and back, that's what this is going to do. So the distance, if we just go back to our automation, TrueVerb, we're going to go to distance, direct distance. Okay. So we take the distance and same thing. We're just going to give this maybe more of like an 8-bar thing, right? So like you see, this is all 16. Let's go like, hey, let's go 8 bars on this and click, and then you're going to see the distance, right? So if I look at the TrueVerb, it's 19 meters or whatever, right? So that's at 19 on the distance. And then if I pull it up, it's going to go to 40, right? So maybe we started like 15 or so, and then we go to 40 by 8 bars, right? So like here, like just go full on. Right. And then same thing, we'll go another 8 bars. And I use this, the loop so that I can pinpoint stuff a lot easier. And you guys should do that too. Why not? So this is going to be like, maybe I bring that in a little bit, right? So it's even closer. Like when I bring this in, it's going to be popping out of the speakers more. When I bring this further, it's going to go back deeper into the mix. Okay. So that's it. And then I take that and I just go boop, copy it. And then I can probably just hit paste right here without that selected. And there you go. Okay. Now let's just paste this out. And over here, I'm just going bang, 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 right? And none of this matters because nothing's playing there, right? So here we go. So now we have an automated magic switch going in and out with the mix, which is more like a chorusing effect and detuning effect. And then we have the true verb front to back. So what we're getting is we're getting the widening and the front to back going, right? So we get this like movement. Now, if you don't have headphones or nice speakers or whatever, you may not hear this as much and you'd be like, this is bullshit. I can't hear through through my phone. But these kind of moves are not for your phone, right? These are for like when people are listening in the car or they're on their headphones and they're fucking high and they're like, yo, that's dope. Let's be real. Like this kind of music, who's listening to this on their phone? Yeah, dude, this is a banger. Like this is like club shit. This is like you go to a rave. You know what I mean? Underground rave, New York, Brooklyn. You know, it's 3 a.m. Everyone's wasted. All right, so check it out. Right? So if you want that to be like more intense, like just do it faster, right? Do it like every 4 bars, do it every 2 bars. But again, I don't want to change the timbre of it too much. I want it to really remain the same kind of vibe. One thing I would say is that just it goes a little too deep, right? I think it'll get lost in the mix. So let's just hear it in the mix to make sure.
Something for your mind, your body, and your soul. The ultimate seduction. The ultimate seduction.
So you feeling it? Like now it just feels like it's moving, you know, like shit's moving. It's not just like, let's just bypass all the shit I've done and like really listen to ARP for a little while and you're like, okay, that's annoying. You know what I mean? Like it's just too much. But with little movement and with some front to back panning and some side to side and some like width and stuff, it's like you want to hear all the instruments doing that, right? You're like, oh, what about the other shit? Like the wind effects and the all that. You want that to be like, whoa, going into space and shit. Because yeah, it's just like it feels like I want everything to be moving and everything to be exciting and in this like world that we're creating. And if it's not, it's like kind of sounds out of place, right? So let's bypass all that stuff I've done on the ARP synth and just hear it before.
Something for your mind, your body, and your soul.
it's almost like you're waiting for it to do something. You know what I mean? You're like, is that going to do anything? No? It's just going to keep... This is driving me crazy, right? So now let's pop these in, and you don't feel that way now. You don't feel like, oh, are we going anywhere? It just feels like a cool texture.
Something for your mind, your body, and your soul.
It's just like more interesting. You're like, ah, that's kind of more interesting. I got more vibe to it. I like that. And that's all we're trying to do is, as you know, as we mix stuff, we're like, how do we make this more interesting? Like find the things that are interesting about the mix and bring those things out. I think the interesting thing about this mix is just like the feeling it gives you. It's like this anxiety, right? It's like, but I don't want it to be anxious. I want it to be more like motivating, you know, like, oh, fuck yeah, we're going to focus, you know, and you could throw it into like a movie where like, you know, what comes to mind for me is like the, that movie with Bradley Cooper where he's taking those pills, right? And he's like, oh man, I became my ultimate self. And he's like doing tasks, you know what I'm saying? And he's like cleaning his apartment and shit. This is the soundtrack to that, you know, he's focused and he's getting shit done, you know? That's what it feels like to me. So it could also feel like, whoa, I'm in outer space and I'm fucking cranking on some shit. You know, I don't do drugs, but you know what I mean? Some drug head just going crazy and like refinishing a bike with sandpaper or something. I don't really know. But okay, so this wind effect, I kind of want to mess with this now. I just want to get this in the same world, you know. And then we're going to get into these vocal effects stuff, the something for your mind and whatever. Like there's already a ton of effects on this, so my hands are kind of tied on that, right? So just listening to this, let's just get it in the mix more.
Something for your mind.
So first things first, like the something, like the S is so intense. So I'm just going to go to, I have this plug search app, which is really cool. So if I hit control, I can just search de-esser, right? I think the Pro DS is probably my favorite de-esser ever. Yeah, this guy from FabFilter. Amazing. And then I'll just go to my preset, my default Bradley DS start. This DS is from about 4K up to about 11, 12K, right? And threshold is pretty low, you know, middle. And then range is 6 dB. And let's just see what that does for the S.
Something for your mind, your body. Something for your mind, your body. Something for your mind, your body, and your soul. Something for your mind, your body, and your soul.
Nice. Took care of the S really nicely. And just, you know, did exactly what I wanted it to do. So here I have the spaced out plugin and I'm like doing some crazy shit. But I do think I want to copy this over, this EQ. And the reason being is because I want to get rid of some stuff on the sides, because I feel like the delay is like really loud in the sides when I want it to be a little bit behind the vocal. So not playing this, but sometimes I just like copy it over and listen. I'm like, oh, does that sound cool? Right? So let's just check this out.
Something for your mind, your body, and your soul.
All right, so that's too much filtering, I think. We want that body in there, and we'll bring that back up, and probably down to like 200 or so with female vocals. And I don't think we need a bunch of top on this vocal, like something for your mind, body, and soul. There's no reason to have like a sparkly high end for a vocal sample chop. But this 4K area, I want to take this into the sides. So listening to this, I'm going to listen for the sides and the delay.
And your soul.
I hate that area. The 4 to 5K can be really, really obnoxious. And in this, it's like just absolutely ear piercing. So, you know, especially when you solo it out, of course. But I think this actually can be in the full stereo because it's in the middle as well. And it's really obnoxious. And I'll tighten that up just a touch and I might make this dynamic. So making it dynamic just means when it goes too much, because maybe like she's saying soul, you know, and you want the like 4K 4700 in the soul part. But when it's like something for your mind, you know, when it like goes high, we just want to push it down. So dynamic EQ, multiband compression, whatever you want to call it.
Something for your mind, your body, and your soul.
All right, dope. That's exactly what I wanted to do. Now, bypassing this EQ in and out, I want you to hear what I did.
Something for your mind, your body, and your soul. Something for your mind, your body, and your soul.
So it just sits the vocal into the mix and gives it a nice warmth. Like all of a sudden you hear the low, like, that part of the vocal, which is what I want. You know, I don't want that, you know, there's plenty of stuff doing that in this mix. So softening that stuff is going to help the mix so you can crank it up and you're like, that sounds great, right? And also going back to the reference, I'm always paying attention to what this reference is doing overall with the EQ and the curve of it. Right? It's very, very soft in the high mids. Like you're not going to get that, right? It's just like it feels warm and fat. And that means you want to crank it up. And you turn it up because you're at a festival and people are like, this shit's hard, right? So making something really high, like in the 2K to 5K area, it's just going to be people like, turn it down. You know, you're at a festival, your track finally comes on, the remix, and it just plays back to back on against this one. And all of a sudden people are like, and you're like, why'd the vibe get killed in the room? Then the DJ goes, well, I shouldn't play that Ed 808 track because nobody likes it. Well, maybe people would like it if it was mixed right. You feel me? All right, so let's get back to what we're doing here. We're softening it out. We're making this so we can crank it. We want it to be loud. So now I got the something for your mind, body, and soul. I'm not going to mess with that too much because he's got effects on it. I think he was pretty deliberate with that, right? With the Vox here, the like, siren thing, we true verbed it, we panned it, we gave it some space out. Let me show you before and after with this one. Beautiful what I've done. I'm the greatest. Laugh my ass off. All right, so now I'm going to bypass those and now hear it before I did anything with it. Right now it's like we're getting closer to the reference, meaning we're lightening out all that like mid heavy shit that's like screaming in your ear like a baby crying or a siren going off. Not to say that you don't want some of that, but you don't want a bunch of it. And we're giving everything movement. We're giving everything life. You know what I'm saying? Like a big part of mixing is like giving shit life, giving shit like movement and texture and depth and like a world of its own, right? Like making it three-dimensional. The things like the producer or the writer or the artist couldn't do. You know what I mean? Like you have to really do the shit that like people have in their head and they're like, I wish it sounded like that, but they don't know how to do because the techniques, they just don't understand the techniques, you know? So there's an ARP synth here that we need to treat. We need to figure this out. Let's check it out.
For your mind.
Like, I don't even hear that in the mix because everything's doing the same range. It's all in that, 1K to 5K area. Like, watch this. I'm going to put on an EQ just so you guys can see it, because if you can't hear it, you'll see it right here, right? Watch.
For your mind.
Now, why do you do that? Why do you put sounds in the same exact area that has the drums and everything else right up the middle? Everything's doing the same shit. You can't even hear it. You can't hear it. People won't feel it. You know what I'm saying? So we have to treat that. And it's going to start with this sub bass. So let's listen to the sub bass. All right, so let's do the same treatment we did on the other sub bass, where we have sub bass 1 and we have sub bass high, right? Because we want to be able to hear the sub bass, and right now it sounds mainly like this break. All right, and that's a crazy break. Like, it's pretty fun. I don't mind it. I think it's like an interesting part right here. And the break is cool. Like, it's just brings a new energy. It's like, bah, 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 bah. It's like, fuck yeah. Like someone like breaking down the door, you know what I mean? Which is sick. Like, I'm into that vibe. But comparing it, like, let's just compare, because this is the important part, is when you compare this break to this break, let's hear what it's missing and what is happening to the drums. All right, so right away from my ear, like, what do you guys hear? What is the difference, and what would you want to change with that second break? I'll play that again, but let me know in the comments, because I want you guys to really understand what I'm hearing and like what is automatic. You know, you need to have that instinct. You're like, oh man, that's fucked up. I need to change this and do this, right? So let me know in the comments. I'm going to play it again. I'm going to play the drum break we've been working on, and then I'm going to play the new drum break that just came in. All right, what do you guys got for me? Yeah, dude, that's what's up. I try to be inspiring. I don't really try to be inspiring, but honestly, I just love this shit, bro. It's good to see you. Add another kick. Okay, that's good. Bass is missing. That's good. So what do you mean bass is missing? All right, so like, tell me what you mean by bass is missing, because I'll play the parts again. All right, what do you got? What do you got? What do you got? Too much? Okay, yeah, I agree. Too much highs, missing bass frequency. Okay, so too much highs, I would say too much high mids. Highs to me would be like, you know, you're going into like 8, 9K and above. Maybe even lower than that. Maybe like highs, I would think like 6, 7K up, right? I'd say high mids. Definitely umph. Yeah, the umph, the punch, right? The punch that we established, that's missing for sure. The umph, like things punching out of the speakers. Like, where's the punch? You know? It sounds like someone's fucking hitting like a plate with a bunch of like silverware in your ear. And you're like, why are you doing that, bro? Stop it. You know? This is like annoying. And now my ears are like tired. They're like, ah. And again, remember, this is festival music. This is music where you're playing it at a club. You're playing it at a live event sort of thing where you want to turn those speakers up. And when that comes on, if that came on in the mix, people would just be like, ah, turn it down, man. Turn it down. Yeah, so like high mids for sure. All right, so high mids needs more punch. Umph. Umph is like the best way to put it. Like the punch and the umph. All right, so again, going back. Like, I just love the punch. And the reason the punch is so important is because remember our reference and remember what style of music we're making here. Again, reference. Here we go. Right? Even when we go into like the dirty shit and like the heavy stuff, it's still rounded. It's still like, whoa. It's not like, you know what I mean? It's not hitting us in the ear so hard. So that's what we need to make sure we don't do is, you know, cut your head off with these frequencies. So here we are. All right, and that's just intense. And another thing that that's doing is it's covering everything else. So just mute the break and listen to what comes to light.
For your mind.
All right, so we got to work on these drums first. And then second, we got to work on that bass and that sub. And then third, because like, look, we get a new sub bass there. And then third, we need to work on this ARP synth and the fact that it's literally like got a bunch of sub in it as well. All this shit is just like, it's everywhere. It's not even, it's just clashing with each other. You know what I mean? So our job is to take the clash and make it more open and so we can hit the limiters harder and we can make this shit hit, make it slap. You know what I'm saying? So let's go back to the main break here where we just have this main break and this is our sub we already have. And remember we did these kicks and we sent the kick to a kick sidechain kill bus, right? We can mute that. We don't even need to worry about that. But that bus 5 is going out to a send, right? And that bus 5 send is getting picked up over here on the Soothe 2 sidechain on the key, right? So we got the key here. So every time these kicks hit, it's going to duck the bass like this. Now, how are we going to get that to happen when you got this crazy shit going on with this break here, right? So you got this crazy stuff. There's not a kick that we can really solo out here. And it's a loop. It's all together. Right? So we literally have to do the same thing where we take the kick and we bring it over here, right? So this is what I'm going to do is do this as quick as I possibly can because I know this is boring part and it's not really mixing. This is more production stuff. But I'll go over here. I'm going to option drag this over and we're just going to lock in on this kick pattern. And it's pretty simple until it gets to the end and it does a little stutter thing. So what I'm going to do is just kind of drag these guys over so I could just focus on the first hits here. And here we go. We have, I mean, you can read the waveforms pretty well, right? So let's move this over here, and you have this guy really pretty much hitting on the downbeat there, right? So just try to match up everything pretty good. And then you have here, this needs to be moved over there. Just kind of move these so that the transients hit at the same time, right? And what we're going to do is we're going to go through and add that layer of the kick drum so we can get punch back. The nice part about this drum loop is the kick drum is pretty much the same shit. Boo, boo, you know what I mean? So it's right, like going on the downbeat and shit. This is actually not happening on this kick as this second one. So all we need to do is really layer these up so we can have a double banger. A double whopper is what we call this. Double whopper wide. Right, now we got that poof, like it's just boom. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna layer up this kick. Now, the best part about that is now those kicks are hitting that sidechain of that sub, right? So the sub is ducking every time that happens as well. Now, obviously, we still got to treat this main break and give it some love because it's way too ear piercing in those high mids. But before I do that, I'm just kind of tightening up these edits and making sure that everything's looking good. When I do a fade at the beginning of a transient, that's really important. I make it very, very short, right? So see, I'm like doing the very minimal fade that it'll let me do. And then I'm shaping it so that we're not losing that transient. That's very, very important. Don't lose your transients with a fade, but definitely fade so you don't get the click or the pop, right? Just 101 type shit, right? But now this is the whole loop. I can see, I can hear it. It's just that's the full thing right there is just this bar. What do we got here? 4-bar kind of thing here. Let me find the repeat on this. Okay, we got a little more. This is actually like a proper 4-bar loop, which is kind of nice. But you can hear the kick drums like sucking down. It makes it a lot more punchy. But for sure, like audio, yeah, EQ masking nightmare. It's just masked up like crazy. Which is typical with a lot of producers, man. A lot of producers just don't know how to make sounds, congeal. And they don't spend enough time on it. Let's be real. They're just throwing loops together like, that's cool, add that, that's cool. But they're not spending the time going like, is that in the way of that? Like, yeah, it probably is, right? the sake of my ears, and so I don't lose my fucking mind right now, I'm going to tuck back this 2 to 4K area. Sick, right? It's just like a couple EQ moves like make that so much better, right? Like turn the EQ off. Now this might have a shot, you know, like it might be something people are like, fuck yeah, turn that up. That sounds sick. Drink another beer, pop another Molly. I don't condone drug use at all. I'm just saying, like, this sounds like, you know, some shit you hear at a rave. And I'm from Portland, Oregon. Like, raves are, like, massive there. All right, let's get rid of that because I think that's where it turns around. And here we go. So now when I want to loop something, right, just make sure that the ending point lands right on that, right? So click and make sure. You can see on your flag right there, right? Bam. It's weird though. It's like not showing it. It doesn't look like it's landing on it. Weird. There you go. So I just look at the length here and the position. All right, so once the length and position is good and you go to the beginning of the region and the same thing, like you're landing right on the downbeat. Now you could take this whole thing and just Command R, just repeat it. Because now we have the same exact thing, right? It's just boom, boom, and you can just repeat it out. Now let's make sure that that even makes sense and that my theory is right. Sexy, it's real sexy. Another thing you can do on this main break, because we're replacing the kick pretty much, right? If I solo this kick and really listen for the punch of the kick drum on the drum break. It's cool. It has a good, like a cool tonality of it, like being clipped out, like goo, goo, right? But that, you don't need the low end to get that sound, right? So you can literally come up here and I'll show you what I mean. Right? Come all the way up to like 100. And you can, if you're worried about like phase shifting and stuff, just take this like to maybe 18, 24, something like that. A little lighter on that. That way you don't get a bunch of phase shifting and weird phase artifacts. This 400 area, I don't like this at all in these drum breaks. And I think the reason I don't like them is because when I hear this reference, again, I'm going to the reference because I think this sounds pretty cool. It's a cool vibe. And he gave it to me as a reference. Like, I'm going to reference it, right? I'm a mixing engineer. I listen to my client. I want my client to be super happy. I want them to be like, bro, you make me sound better than I even thought. Like, I didn't think I could sound this good, you know? Because that inspires people to keep going with music and keep creating and making art. If you feel like you suck all the time and you can't get anything right, you're going to quit, you know? You're going to be like, nobody likes my shit. I don't even like my shit. But if you come to me or to a producer or, you know, I'm a producer as well. I produce records with people. Brian Olsen's in the house, you know. I produce records for Brian. You know what I'm saying? So there's there's a big chance that when you get something back from a professional where they've produced, helped you write the song, help you, make the sounds, design stuff, that you go, holy shit, I actually have a shot at this. It's like me working with an investor. I don't know anything about investing, but you work with someone that really knows about investing or really knows about marketing, right? And all of a sudden things start working and you're like, how does it, that's crazy. I didn't think I could actually market and get a return on my marketing. You know what I mean? But a professional marketer is going to know, like a marketer is going to know how to do that for you. You don't have to spend 6 years learning that shit, 3 hours a day on it. You don't need to do that. I would say look for the who. In 2024, that should be your slogan. Look for the who, not the how, okay? Find your who. Find your who's, mini who's, right? Who's, not how's. All right, let's get back to this. I mean, shit, just listen to how filtered that is. Like, there's no 400 in that. Let's put an EQ on here. I just want you to see, what I'm hearing, okay? So just watch how scooped this area is and how big this area is. It's crazy. I have to boost the shit out of that 400 to 500 area to get that same sound that we're getting in our sounds, in our drum bass and stuff, right? So a trained ear can hear that right away. If you don't have a trained ear, you're not going to hear that. You're going to be like, what? Now, because this is pushed to the fucking absolute brim, this is not going to represent it correctly, right? You're going to be like, oh, they all look loud to me. But right away, I could just hear. I hear if I start pushing this in there, listen to the AB. Now, to give myself headroom so I can actually show you a proper AB, I'd literally have to go into this region and just give myself a little gain, right? So let's gain that down 4 dB or something so we can add this back in, because it's pretty crazy how much of this is just missing. Also, pay attention to the high end rollout. Watch the high end right here. It's crazy. There's no high end brilliance. Look at that. That's at 14K, So it starts rolling at 13K and it's right? So no top end, no mids. The mids are swept to the brim, but everything is here, right? It's all here and some in here, right? And it feels crazy. It feels crazy, but it's kind of cool. It's definitely a creative choice with the mix, and I think that's kind of a vibe. Now, I'm not going to push this mix all the way to that, but just now listen to this main break and the drums, and listen to that 400, 500 area. That kick drum's insane now, right? It's a little much. So for this, because this is part of this kick, and I think it already sounds really good over here, maybe it's too much. I don't know. That's a creative choice if I was to do that, right? Just go really big with the fucking kick, so it's just punchy as hell. But I don't think I want to do that. I think that's just a little much. But yeah, we have this kick. It has a little bit of EQ on it. Let's bring that up just a touch. And this EQ, or this kick, doesn't have anything on it. Let's just look at this kick because it feels maybe a little too much. No, I like it. I like it because it's got that knock, right? So no EQ required. But I do maybe want to put an R comp on it, and I want to just like let it hit pretty softly here. And I'll show you what I mean. R compressor, the king of compressors. All right, so let's go like with this. Let's go like 1.89 or so. All right, we'll go pretty fast on this. Maybe 40. Release pretty fast. Opto smooth. Just let this kind of, you know, hit like 2 dB or so. Okay, so what that's doing for me in my ear and in this room is it's giving me more of the roundness at the bottom, right? So it's going like titi titi to like goo 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 goo, right? So titi doo doo, titi doo doo, right? That's what I'm hearing. So listen again. You're gonna get like a thinner kind of fast kick to a longer, more round kick, right? And that's what that feels like in my ear. Just gives me more knock. And if you really want to accentuate that and for you to really hear it, I'll just hit the threshold really hard. That's actually too hard. It's just killing it now. So I'm not going to do that, but you know, I was hoping that would show you even more of that like roundness to the bottom. So this one I think is getting too ticky. And I think I did the wrong move by bringing that up. You know, sometimes you're like, oh, that's too much. I'm cutting too much. Trust your ear. Always trust your ear first. If you're like, no, I was cutting enough. Maybe I was going too light on the cut. You know what I'm saying? So it's just too like tick, 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 tick. I don't like that. All right, so what I was going to say about the kick here is you can also send that bus 5 to this main break and throw the Sooth 2 on here. This could be a really cool idea here, right? Go Sooth 2, bam, and then we're going to do our side chain here. I should have a preset just saved in here. I don't know what I'm doing. Just low end, right? Like kick reso. There we go. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Bring that up. Bam. Get that. Bam. 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 And then we don't want that on. And then we'll go 1 time. We don't need 2 times. Side chain on. Side chain 5, right? Go to 5 here. Drum. Okay. Now, this is going to be good. And pop that on. There we go. Oh, that's pretty cool, right? Now we're making more room for the drum, the kick replacement, so you don't have a big buildup of low end. You don't want to overdo this because then all of a sudden you're going to mess with the timbre of what he had for his kick. So what I would recommend is kind of finesse this a little bit. So like get the depth right so it's not like super deep, and then also maybe take these kicks down a little bit so you're not losing that kind of garage, distorted, clipped out kick drum, right? So, and I'll show you what I mean. I'm going to just kind of delete these over. Yeah, this one as well. Right, and then I think we probably want to get this all repeated. Bring that over. Oops. Go like that. Bam. All right, so just making sure that I have my my drums all good, replaced, etc. They're not really replaced. I just say that. It's just kind of a terminology I use. All right, and then this over here. We want to probably grab some of these guys, bring them over here because this is for this this break here. So, and I'm assuming this is the same break, but we will listen. Again, y'all got to like really listen. Like that's the name of the game here. We're mixing, we want to listen. Like you're not mixing, you don't listen. Don't mix with your eyes. Your eyes will always fuck you. It'll always fuck you. Like you'll be like, oh, it's because this is too peaky. I need to take that down and that down. And then you're like, dude, why is my mix so thin? So many people mix with their eyes now. Like 2023, 2024, people mixing with their eyes, and you can't figure out why their shit sounds so bad. Like, stop mixing with your eyes. You put a Pro Q3 on there. I've seen like these hella funny people mixing shit, and like sessions that I get are so funny, man. You'll see like EQs like this, straight up. See the Pro Q3, and like they'll do this. They mix with their eyes, right? So they go like this. Right? They start looking at every single peak in here, and they start taking them down. Right? They're like, oh, there's a peak, that's a peak, that's a peak there. Because Pro Q3 will tell you like you can do as many as you want, right? They'll do this kind of thing. This cracks me up. You know, like they'll do that. And I'm like, like if you're gonna do that, here's what I want you guys to realize. If you're gonna do that, just go default setting real quick. Oops, drums, default setting. So if you're gonna do that, here's what you should do instead. Go to this, turn it down, because that's all you're doing. You're like taking an EQ and turning every single band down and every single peak, and it's like, no, you just need to take the volume down. Get it? I always love that shit. Drives me crazy when I see that kind of stuff. It doesn't drive me crazy. It just makes me laugh. I think it's funny. It's like people are looking at the resonant peaks of everything. Like, I need to take the peak down and it's resonating. I'm like, bro, it's fine. It's a filter. It's supposed to do that. It's part of the production. All right. I digress. You guys getting a lot out of this? Like, you actually like this? Like, what's up? You guys sleep? You guys got questions? You know, I'll keep going, but, I want to make sure you guys are actually, like, listening, paying attention. Or you just got this in the background, like, yeah, I guess I'll just leave Bradley's stream on, let him talk shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's up? You guys alive? Brian's alive. Brian is alive. Just got in. That's what's up. What is it? Bezaleel? Bezaleel. Nice name, dude. Yeah, just turn it down. Like, you guys going in and dissecting the EQ, getting all surgical on every single band, every single peak. Just turn the damn thing down. You don't like the sound. Take it out of the mix. You know what I'm saying? It's just hella funny. That's what's up. All right, cool. Yeah, I know. I'm not expecting you guys to be like, oh, I'm gonna ask all these questions, get crazy with it. But I just want to make sure that you guys are hanging in there. All right, I'm going to be wrapping this up a little bit. I didn't realize like how much talking I do on these live streams. And also I didn't realize how many drums needed to be added to these breaks, because I literally was like, yeah, I'm gonna finish the master. But then I'm like, here's another break. There's another break. There's another break. So many brakes. I guess it makes sense. Drum and bass, baby. That's what we're working on. All right, let's listen to this. Let's listen to these combined. All right, so I'm liking that, man. I think to soften out this brake even more, let's, before the Sooth 2 and right after this Pro Q3, let's just give it some nice, something nice to just kind of take care of the tops, you know? Like just round the tops out. Round the tops out. Okay, so I'm just gonna do like a tape machine or something. Maybe not a tape machine. I'm trying to think of something that would just round the tops out. Okay, so round the tops out. Let's think about this. Maybe something fun here would be to use the... I want to just go RC20, you know, and round the tops out. But I'm also thinking that a fun thing to do would be like use a plugin that I really like for that. So, Yeah, let's do that. So we're going to use the Fatso. We're just going to use the Empirical Labs Fatso. And the reason I want to use this, or the Distressor, could work, but not really. This warm, just turn the warm up, and you're going to roll out the top. Basically what this is it's a high-end limiter, okay? So it's limiting the high end. Okay, so for example, I'm going to put it on 1, and then we're going to go flip through it. Pretty fucking cool, right? And I'm slamming it just so you guys can hear it. You know, I could finesse this in. It's really about a gain. It's about gain structure and stuff. But it also has a compressor in it. So you have bus compression, group compression, and spank. So there's some cool options there. And it can do like dual, like you could do bus, group, bus and group, spank and bus, spank and group. Like this is a very, very, the first hardware unit I ever owned as a engineer. And I don't have the unit anymore, but I know guys that have been mixing even longer than me that have their Fatso still. Like it's like one of their rack mounted gears that they'll never get rid of, right? And you know, they all sound different because they were made during different times and they have different you know, transformers in them and all that good stuff. But this company's awesome. Empirical Labs is amazing. And what I would do here is turn on the tranny, because that's going to thicken things out. You know, you're putting a transformer on the output. And then on the input, let's make sure we're not hitting like a million on this warm, right? So we're just going to kind of gain stage it in. See how nice that is? It's just like making it sound better. I think that's the best way to put it. So main break, soloed out, Fatso in and out. See how it just changes the timbre of it? So it goes from like kind of like sterile almost and digital sounding on the tops and the high tops, like the high mids. And then it goes into like this like warm analog, just feels better. I don't know. It sits in the mix better too. It doesn't sound like my ears started ringing. My left ear started ringing when I brought it back out. It was like, cause it's like shing 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 shing, like that high end is just piercing, man. And you can't have that because people won't want to turn it up. They're gonna turn it down. They're gonna be like, turn that shit down. It's killing my ears. You know what I mean? So that's what I would do with that. And also these kick drums again, like let's just go in here and automate these down a little bit, right? So just these on this break because I feel like they're just a little much. They're just like a little too punchy, and we'll find a good spot for them. Great, man. Like I can't believe how much those kick drums just like make that shit slap, you know. Just makes it so much better. So the sub bass again is getting ducked, high bass sub, and then you have the sub bass 2, which is gonna come in here. I'm going to mute that ARP synth for now because it's not really that important. Not as important as the drum and bass. Let's be real. All right. Drum and bass needs drum and bass. That's super important and the most important aspect of this music. So let's really get this sub bass right. One thing you can try is to literally just bada bing, right? And if you hold down shift when you option drag, right, it'll lock it to the grid, right? So you can see it's like kind of locking it. So like option and then shift. Right now I can't move it left or right. So there you go. And then we're going to do that. And we're just going to mute the original and see if this just works. I don't know, but maybe. I think that it's working on the top, the bass top, but it's not really working on this lower bass sub. And I think it's because the Soothe 2 is probably ducking it too much. So what I'm going to do on that is I'm just going to drag the Soothe 2 over and I'm going to give it less on this one because I feel like it's too much on this one. Beautiful. I mean that's pretty solid. Like the low end is great. We're hearing this bass cut through this high. Right, that'll get it cutting on smaller speakers, even though it's like really big sub. But also when you go to that festival, that nightclub, when everyone's tweaking out, it'll also be like huge there, and people will be like, "Fuck yeah!" You know, that's the key, baby. Got to get those freaks going freaky, getting all freaky. That's what this is about. This music is about being freaky. You know what I'm saying? Like you got to be a freak to like this shit and to really get into it. Okay, so ARP synth here, big thing. I'm going to sweep out the bottom so that sub can take it. You hear what happened right away? It was just like so crazy. Like just masking, right? Masking frequencies. Masking frequencies means you have frequencies on top of frequencies on top of frequencies. It's going to mask things. So you had that synth and it was like, it was like hitting all this like frequency on top of the sub, right? And so you can't hear the synth. The synth is just like clogged. Everything's clogged. It's right? But then turn this filter on and all of a sudden it's like too loud, right? It's like, like, just listen. I'm going to bypass it in and out. Right? Like you can't get all of that information to work together. The only way, if you want to get that, like that note to happen, that boop, 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 which he has in there, right? So if I just solo this, like listen to what happens when I bypass this in and out and what happens to that note that he's playing at that 100 area. Right, it's like that 140 area. You could still get that to work by maybe using the soothe and like having it sidechain with the kick and everything, but it's still going to compete with that sub bass, right? So because the sub bass is going, it's going the whole time, right? So it's just going to be, that's just a shit show. It just automatically is going to be a shit show. And I'll show you, like, if you don't believe me, you know, because I know some people are like, what? I could make that happen, bro. I could do it. You're just not good enough, bro. I'm just playing. But check it out. So you go into this, right? And here's the sub bass. Because I have to show you guys visually because some of you aren't, you know, you're not working in a perfectly tuned studio where you're even hearing these frequencies. So down here, watch what happens on the sub. Right? So there's so much going on there. But that's because we swept the shit out of that one, right? So now I'll go to the top as well. So here's the high, and I'll show you that. I mean, this is still going to have some up here, but yeah, I swept the shit out of that as well. So we might find a pocket for it, but I think we'd have to like resonate the crap out of it. Here's how I do it. Here's how I do it to make it so this note on this ARP is working. Duplicate the track, option drag this down, and we're going to say ARP synth low, right? And then we're going to just literally choke this out, and we're only going to focus in on we're going to bandpass it to where it's just taking this area, right? That is kind of like a hole because we have the sub going down and we have the high sub stuff up here. So let's just really try to focus in on this area. And we will see what that's sounding like. We'll hear what that's sounding like. It's not very musical, let's be real, but it's like, it doesn't sound very good. You know what I mean? But let's hit it with like some distortion or something, right? So go in, hit it with, doesn't matter, use whatever you like for distortion, honestly. Audio damage. Just like thinking, do I have a distortion that I never use that I could just use on this? Probably. I have so many plugins that I just don't even fuck with. Like, they're just here. Oh, I love the Decimort. This is always fun. Yeah, this shit's totally dope. I love this. One of my favorites. And I like driving the preamp. This thing's amazing. All right, just kind of get that to stick out a little bit. That's all we're doing. And then from there, you can compress this. You can do whatever you want to make that pop a little bit more. But on the other one, we're going to call this ARP synth high, right? And we're going to do similar stuff, but not really. We're going to take this. We're going to do the opposite. Okay, so maybe like here we go up to like 400 or so. And get rid of the tops because nobody wants the tops. It's pretty apparent. Nobody likes the tops. Okay, cool. All sounds all right to me, but it's not really hitting. So what I'm going to try and do now is widen out the top. So I'm going to go to Waves PS. You know, I'm doing surgery on this mix, man. Let's be real. Like, I'm making this thing sound insanely better than it was. And if you don't agree, then I don't know, man. You got to get your ears checked. All right, so let's go to the PS22 spread. And what we'll do here is we'll just go, I just flip through the presets until I see the shape I'm looking for. You can also just save a preset, but this is it right here. That's what I'm looking for. And we're going to boost like everything from 500 or whatever above. And we'll just kind of spread that top there. Might be fun also to give this a little front to back, like some more dimension on this one. So what I'll do here is give it again the true verb, right? So true verb to the rescue, baby. And we're gonna load up our tuck the synth back preset. Always sick. In fact, I don't even think I need the spread when I have that true verb on, because it just kind of gives it the dimension I want. And we'll just figure out a good space for it from front to back. So see, we're still getting that note now. If I mute that, you'll see it disappears. That boop, 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 boop. Now, same thing. Let's make sure that the kick isn't getting taken over by this boop, 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 right? So let's pop on the Soothe 2 here. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to shave off the kick here and let it just, you know, because this is like sitting around that like 500 to, you know, I don't remember what we swept into it, but yeah, what do we got? Yeah, like 280, like that's some punch in the kick. You know, sometimes that's like some weight to the kick, that 300 to 500 area. So we'll just let this open up to like 900 or something. And then sidechain, figure out the bus is 5, right? Sidechain kick, and then go really fast. And the release, we can probably let release a little bit slower, but not much. And then, yeah, let this hit.
And your soul.
It's weird. I have like all this like weirdness going on there. I don't know. Oh, because I'm not even on the right one. I'm like, huh? Is that right? Yeah, okay. That's right. I think it's just not hitting it on that frequency. So now I'm getting like a nice clearing up that low end stuff. It's just like that low punch area in this. All right, so this is bus 5 scene. Oh, that's why. Okay, I'm like, what? That doesn't look right. Okay, so I got to turn the sidechain on. Hate when I forget to do that. Like, this is weird. All right, now we should see the kick. Yeah, don't let anything get in the way of that kick, man. Like I'm telling you, that shit's amazing. I just love that. All right, so now that's like just clearing room for the kick. That's all I'm doing. Always clear room for the kick. And then this high here, we probably want to let the kick come through there as well. But really, this was the big thing here is like this is right in the kick area, right? That's the punch of the kick. 68 to 300, right? You can do the same thing with the high. You could even just like bust these to their separate bus and then go to the instrument mix. So you could just do it to both, right? So if you wanted to, we'll go here. This is going to bus 11. We'll just make a new bus 17, right? And then we'll go to bus 17. We'll call this, I guess this would be like basses, ARP synth. There you go. And then this would go out to bus 11 again. And then we can literally just take that Soothe 2 on the ARP low. We just put it across that bus so we're not having to do it to both, right? So real quick, let's save this as a preset. So we'll say save as, and we'll say kick duck, right? And then that way we can just open up Soothe 2 and have the kick duck. I don't know why I didn't do that before, right? All right, so get rid of it there and go here, pop Soothe 2 on here, and we'll go to our kick duck. Bam, now we're all set. So now that's doing it to both group together, right? So that doesn't look right. Let's make sure that this is happening. Sidechain didn't get held over on the preset. which is probably pretty normal, right? Bring that back up. I was like, why the fuck? This shit looks crazy. Now, if you want that ARP synth to be like more, you know, staying put, but then just ducking down every time the kick hits, you can do that by compressing before the soothe too, right? So for example, let's throw the R comp on this, all right? Let's just go Control R comp. And I definitely need to stop streaming because I need an ear break. This shit is like really hard on the ears. So here we can go like 4-to-1 or something, right? Probably 4-to-1 would be the best. And then we will just kind of even this out. We'll leave it on electro warm. And longer release. Sounding kind of crazy. But yeah, I want to just like revisit the beginning here and hear this and just kind of see where we're at.
The realm. for your mind. The ultimate seduction.
All right, it's getting there, but I need an ear break, man. Like I'm like losing my shit right now because it's just too much. It's just too much. Hope you guys enjoyed the stream though. If you did, please make sure you're subscribed to the channel. I'm gonna be dropping all this stuff, and I'm really thinking about, you know, just like doing a stream like as much as I possibly can every time I'm mixing something. I always ask my clients if it's okay. Most of them are like, hell yeah, do that shit. You know what I mean? But, you know, that's kind of part of working with me as well, I think, is like helping people push their music out and get it heard, right? So when this is actually done, people will have like been a part of the process. At least like 10 people, 20 people, I don't know. So it'll be cool for Ed to drop this and you know, have some people that were like, yeah, I was part of that mix, you know, like I was in the live streams and stuff. I saw it all come together, right? So I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you did, please share the show, like it, drop comments, you know, if you see something on the channel, like, you know, that you like, or you got something out of, just show some love. You know, that's a big part of making content as a professional artist, engineer, producer, is that you feel like most people just take. And a lot of people that have been doing it as long as I've been doing it don't want to make content for you guys because a lot of the times you just don't give a shit, you know? It's like, it's like when Napster came around and like, you know, streaming services, like music is free, you know, nobody cares, right? It becomes a commodity. So don't ever take this for granted. Don't take, these live streams from professionals, don't take them for granted. Don't think of them as a commodity. It's something that a lot of us don't have to do. We do it because we like doing it, but also the only way we can really do this is if you guys support it so that we can get more opportunities from it, so we can mix more records, right? We can produce more records. We can have people hearing this stuff and sharing it, and we can make a living doing this, right? Because this is my sole living, is making music. So I'd like to keep that going for another 40 years. All right, so I appreciate y'all tuning in and sharing the show and showing love, dropping comments, you know, getting on the Instagram, the TikToks, all that stuff, and just shouting out stuff, you know what I mean? So if you got something from it, don't just take. Again, if you just take, that's what you're going to get back. People are going to take from you. So let's keep shit good, man. Keep the vibes lit. Peace.